Hello, my curious dreamers, and welcome back to the Sleepy Professor, where questions drift like clouds and answers whisper through the quiet corridors of the mind. Before we begin tonight's thought experiment, I'd love to know, where in the world are you watching from? Are you in a rainy little town with a warm cup of tea? Or maybe curled up in bed while the desert wind dances outside your window? Wherever you are, I'm so glad you're here. Now close your eyes, relax your breath, and let's explore what might happen if time stopped for just 1 second. Imagine, just for a moment, that every ticking clock around the world suddenly stopped, not broken, not paused, but as if time itself, the very fabric that holds our universe together, decided to take a breath. All movement halts, all processes, all vibrations, every atom, everything becomes still. You are standing in a quiet room. Maybe you were reaching for a glass of water. Maybe you were mid-step, walking across the floor. But suddenly, the glass no longer falls. Your foot no longer touches the ground. The air no longer moves around your skin. And yet, you are aware. Somehow, within this impossibly still moment, your mind floats, untouched by the laws that govern the physical world. Outside, a hummingbird is frozen in mid-flight. Its wings, which once beat faster than the eye could follow, now hang in the air like pieces of a painting. The wind has stopped in the trees. Leaves that were about to rustle remain suspended in their dance. A ripple across a pond is frozen into a glassy sculpture. The sky above, clouds, birds, light itself, is locked into a single shimmering moment. You try to speak, but there is no sound. Not because your voice is gone, but because sound needs time to travel, and time, right now, has taken a rest. You are in the stillest stillness that could ever exist. Even light has stopped. That beam of sunshine filtering through your window no longer moves. It hangs like a golden thread, illuminating dust particles caught in suspension. If you move your hand through it, would the light bend? Would the particles scatter? Or are you too subject to the same pause? You begin to wonder whether your awareness is real or just part of this frozen second. In this strange suspension, you become aware of things you usually overlook. The ticking of your own mind, the feel of your own consciousness, separated from the movement of muscles and senses. You are a thought without motion, a soul without time. Perhaps this is what eternity feels like. Not a stretch of infinite hours, but a single second drawn out forever, filled with infinite noticing. Infinite silence, infinite potential. There is no rush, no pressure, no past or future. Only now. And in that now you are both nowhere and everywhere. Take a deep breath in. Feel the cool air enter your nose, travel down your windpipe, and fill your lungs. Now imagine that right in the middle of that breath, time stops. The air is halfway into your chest. Your lungs are neither full nor empty. The muscles in your diaphragm are frozen in contraction. The sensation of breathing, so automatic, so rhythmic, has been interrupted. You were in the middle of inhaling life itself, and now everything holds. But here's the question. What happens to you? Your body runs on time. Every breath, every heartbeat, every neuron firing, it's all timed. Breathing isn't just a motion, it's a process synchronized with your blood, your brain, your entire being. When time stops, that rhythm breaks. Yet strangely, in this suspended moment, you still feel the breath. You still feel yourself. You are not suffocating because time has stopped. You are not dying because death requires a passage of time. There is no before, no after, just the eternal in-between of a single breath. You are like a statue sculpted from life, not lifeless, but forever mid-motion. You begin to notice the pressure in your chest, the stretch of your ribs, the coolness of air halfway to your lungs. And yet, your body does not panic. Panic, too, requires time, a signal, a response, a reaction. Without time, there is no fear, only stillness, pure and absolute. It's strange how much we take our breath for granted. It's the backdrop to everything we do. We breathe without thinking. We sigh, we yawn, we laugh, we cry, all with breath. And now, in this single halted second, breath has become the main event. You are suspended within it, as if caught in a sacred pause, where even your soul leans in to listen. What if, in this frozen breath, you could hear the silence inside yourself? Not just the absence of noise, but the quiet hum of being, the subtle awareness of your existence without motion. You are not moving, and yet you are profoundly alive. You begin to realize breath is more than survival. It's the link between body and spirit, between thought and action, between now and everything else. And when that link is paused, you are neither here nor there. You are in a place beyond time. The longer you linger in that suspended inhale, the more it feels like the breath of the universe itself, an eternal, invisible tide that connects all living things. And perhaps, in that sacred pause, you're no longer just breathing for yourself, but for something greater. Something is waiting. Not impatiently, not urgently, just gently, waiting for the moment when time begins again, when your breath can finally complete itself, when the world remembers to move and you exhale softly back into the flow of time. Somewhere in the space between stars and skin, a single photon is born. It emerges from the heart of the sun, forged in unimaginable heat and pressure, and begins a long, winding journey. It bounces through layers of solar plasma for thousands of years before finally escaping into open space. A tiny particle of light, full of purpose and speed. Now imagine that just as this photon is about to enter your window, time stops. The photon is a breath away from touching your wall, your face, your eye, but it never lands. It hovers in space, eternally on the edge of arrival, suspended, silent, frozen in motion. A photon moves at the speed of light, by definition, the fastest thing in the universe. But with no time, there is no motion. And so this photon, once a creature of incredible velocity, now lingers in stillness. What was once momentum is now pause. What was once a journey is now a portrait. You can see it, if only you could look closely enough. A glowing pearl mid-flight, caught in a single note of a symphony that never plays. Light doesn't just illuminate the world. It defines it. It gives shape to shadow, color to form, warmth to space. Without light, there is no sight. And yet now, in this breathless second, light has forgotten how to move. The world is visible, but only in a strange, haunted way. It is not bathed in light, but encased in it. As if the universe has become a photograph, a perfect snapshot of what was, held forever in a quiet pause. You walk through this still frame and notice how light once moved. A reflection on a glass, half-formed, a shimmer in water, mid-ripple, a flicker of candlelight, captured as if by magic. The photon that was supposed to make the flame dance now merely hangs there, just millimeters from its destination. And what of time itself? You begin to wonder, if a photon never reaches its end, does its journey ever really begin? If movement is frozen, Does the idea of space even matter? Is distance still real if nothing crosses it? These thoughts drift through you like mist. You're surrounded by light that no longer travels, by particles that no longer pulse. But somehow, this makes them easier to see. You see not just the light, but the moment before light becomes experience, the moment before it touches your eye and becomes vision. It is the potential of sight waiting to be realized. You realize now, we never actually see the light itself. We only see what it touches. But here, in this suspended second, you witness the pure presence of light, existing not for you, not for illumination, but simply being mid-air, unfinished, unexplained, divine. And as you stare into that photon, you see yourself reflected, a being of momentum, now paused, a traveler of time, suddenly outside it. The photon and you, both suspended, both shining with potential that can no longer unfold. Perhaps in this timeless second, you have become light yourself. It begins with a cloud, gentle, grey and heavy with rain, drifting silently above the earth. From that cloud, a single drop of water forms, gathering itself from vapor and condensation, growing heavier, more defined, until gravity pulls it downward. The rain begins to fall, first one drop, then another, and soon a quiet chorus of descending silver threads fills the sky. Now imagine, just as one of those raindrops is about to land on the tip of a blade of grass, time stops. Not just for you, not just for the grass, but for everything. The raindrop no longer falls. It hangs in the air, perfectly round, perfectly still. All around you, thousands, no millions, of droplets are suspended mid-descent. Some hover inches above rooftops. Others are caught halfway down window panes. Some are still so close to the cloud, they've barely begun their journey. You walk into this moment as if stepping into a dream. The air is full of shimmering jewels, frozen in time. You reach out your hand, and a drop rests just above your palm, held in place by nothing. There's no splash, no sound, just silence, and the eerie stillness of a sky that forgot how to move. It's strange how something as ordinary as rain, something we often rush through or hide from, can become beautiful when it pauses. Each drop is now a crystal orb, capturing fragments of the world in perfect reflection. You lean close and see trees, rooftops, even yourself, distorted within the tiny sphere. It is a world within a world, paused inside a bead of water. The wind too has stopped. Leaves that were swaying are now locked in place, mid-tremble. A bird's wing is motionless in the downpour. The puddles below show no ripples, only smooth mirrors waiting for a drop that may never land. And yet, the moment feels alive. Not dead or broken, but filled with suspended energy. The raindrops are not falling, but they want to. There's a tension in the air, like a breath held too long. Gravity is trying to finish its sentence, but time has removed the punctuation. You walk under trees, under rooftops, through alleys and open fields. Everywhere, the rain is waiting. There is a strange sense of peace, as if the world has decided to stop everything just to let you look more closely. To notice the things that fall so quietly, we forget to see them. You begin to wonder what the rain was about to touch. A child's outstretched hand, a page of a book forgotten on a bench, the surface of a still lake that hasn't known a ripple in hours. The rain's mission was never completed. And in that incompletion, something sacred appears. The longer you linger in the moment, the more it becomes clear. Rain isn't just water falling from the sky. It's a connection between cloud and earth, between sky and soul, Each droplet holds a story. Each one carries a journey that ends in nourishment, in change, in life. But now, all of that is waiting, caught in the stillness of 1 second. And you too are caught, between the fall and the landing, between movement and stillness, between the seen and the unseen. You don't know when time will start again. Maybe it already has. Maybe this was never a pause, but the slowest second you've ever lived. There's something magical about the way a bird moves through the sky. The effortless lift of its wings, the rhythmic beat as it cuts through air currents we cannot see. It is motion as poetry, a dance of instinct and freedom played out high above the earth. Now imagine a small sparrow mid-flight, wings fully extended upward in a strong flap. The sun glints off its feathers. Its eyes are focused. Its tiny heart is beating rapidly as it propels itself forward. But just as it begins the downward stroke of its wings, everything stops. Time itself ceases to flow. The sparrow is suspended mid-air, not falling, not flying. Its wings are frozen in place, curved in that perfect arch that holds the promise of flight. The air, once disturbed by its movement, is still. There are no gusts, no wind resistance, no gravity pulling the bird down. There is only stillness. If you could walk beneath it, you'd see every detail. Each feather delicately fanned out, each claw curled as if still gripping invisible momentum. Its beak slightly open, as though it was about to sing or call out. But there is no sound. Just a silence so profound, it seems to hum in your ears. You wonder, is the sparrow aware? Has its mind frozen too? Or is there some flicker of consciousness within it, trapped in the confusion of still wings and silent air? Perhaps it senses something has changed. Or perhaps, like everything else in this moment, its awareness is caught in the pause. Birds were born to move, to dive, to glide, to ride the breath of the earth itself. And now, that essence has been paused. The very nature of a bird, motion, has been placed on hold. The longer you look, the more surreal it becomes. It's not a statue. It's not dead. It's not even dreaming. It is simply waiting, stuck in a second that stretches beyond all time. Around the sparrow, other birds are caught too. A pigeon with wings spread like sails, a swallow mid-turn, a crow, its beak open in what should have been a caw. The sky has become a gallery of frozen flight. No flapping, no soaring, just perfect, unmoving forms suspended in a canvas of blue. You realize how much beauty is hidden in things too fast to notice. In the beat of a wing, in the turn of a tail, in the micro movements of balance and speed and grace. When time flows normally, it all blurs together, but now, each movement is held, each moment stretched, and suddenly, you're aware of just how intricate and miraculous flight really is. The world below is unaware. People are paused mid-step. Leaves no longer fall. Shadows do not shift. But in the sky, these birds hang like dreams, testimonies to life in motion, now caught in a moment that was never meant to last. You feel the tension in the scene, as if the entire sky is holding its breath, as if, at any second, the beat will resume, the wing will fall, and the world will exhale. But not yet. Not now. The sparrow waits, and so do you. Imagine sitting in a quiet room, eyes half closed, lost in thought. Somewhere, a clock ticks. The hum of a refrigerator lingers in the background. A distant dog barks. But now, imagine all of that vanishes. Not because the world has gone silent, but because time itself has stopped. In that moment, your thoughts are caught midstream. You were just about to remember something, a childhood memory maybe, or the next item on your to-do list. But now, that thought has nowhere to go. It floats in your mind, unfinished, like a sentence cut off just before the final word. We rarely think about time as a requirement for thought, but it is. Every memory, every word, every flicker of imagination happens in a sequence. One thing follows another. But if time stops, what happens to the sequence? Can thought survive when the flow of time ceases? It's as if your mind becomes a frozen river. Ideas are suspended like fish beneath the surface, unable to swim forward or back. You are aware, but of what? There's no past to remember, no future to anticipate. Even the present feels like it's paused, holding its breath in a space between seconds. And yet, strangely, you feel something. Not a thought exactly, not an emotion. It's more like the awareness of awareness, a presence without movement, a mind without motion. You are not thinking in the usual way. There are no sentences forming, no mental images flashing. It's more like standing inside the architecture of your own consciousness, seeing how it's built when nothing is moving through it. Maybe this is what meditation hopes to reach. That pure state of being where thought falls away and all that remains is presence. Maybe time stopping is the ultimate form of mindfulness, not an effort to silence the mind, but the universe doing it for you. And what of dreams? Are dreams possible when time stands still? A dream takes you on a journey, even if it lasts only moments. But in this place, there is no journey, no progression. If you dream now, it is not a story. It is a single frame of the imagination, a dream paused before it can even begin. You begin to realize how much of your identity depends on the flow of thought, on the ability to reflect, to plan, to wonder. And now, without that flow, you are something else, not lesser, not gone, just different, a witness rather than a thinker, a presence rather than a personality. And maybe that's the deeper truth, that beneath all our thoughts and feelings, there is something that simply is, a quiet observer, untouched by the ticking of any clock, something eternal, something unmeasured. In the stillness, that part of you awakens. It doesn't need words, it doesn't need time, it simply notices. And in that noticing, there is peace. Sound is everywhere. It lives in the rustling of trees, in footsteps echoing down a hallway, in the hum of a distant engine. It rises in laughter, falls in whispers, and hides in silence that isn't truly silent at all. Sound shapes our world in ways we hardly notice, until it disappears. Now imagine a moment where time stops, and with it, every sound in the universe. The last sound you heard is still hanging in the air. Maybe it was a word, unfinished. Maybe it was the final note of a song, still ringing. Maybe it was nothing at all, just the soft noise of your own breath. But whatever it was, it's no longer moving. It's no longer becoming. It simply is, frozen. Sound is vibration. Air molecules bumping into each other, one after another, creating waves that travel to your ears. But when time stops, that chain reaction halts. The molecules stop. The wave is incomplete. The vibration doesn't die. It just hangs, mid-pulse, like a bell struck, but never allowed to ring. You try to speak. Your mouth moves, or it would, if motion were still allowed. But even your voice cannot escape your throat. There's no time for vocal cords to vibrate, no breath to push the sound out. Your words remain inside you, unborn. And in this moment, the world becomes the quietest it has ever been. Not because it is empty, but because it is held in a pause before the sound can even begin. You listen, not out of habit, but from something deeper, something instinctual. Because in this profound silence, you start to hear what sound was always covering up, the spaciousness beneath it all. A kind of invisible architecture, a room behind the music, a canvas that sound was painted on. With the music paused, you see the shape of the silence. You walk through the world and see sound everywhere, even though you cannot hear it. A bird's open beak, frozen in song. Leaves suspended mid-rustle. A barking dog mid-air, jaws wide. Silent fury stopped cold. A dropped glass about to shatter, but the crash never comes. The tension of a moment that never resolves surrounds you like static in the air. And yet, it is peaceful. There is a serenity in the unspoken, a weight to the stillness. You feel how much space sound occupies in your life. Not just the obvious things, conversations, music, traffic, but even the subtle ones. The tick of a clock, the hum of a screen, your own heartbeat echoing in your chest. Now there's none of it. And yet, in that void, you feel more aware, not less. You remember how certain sounds used to move you. A loved one's voice calling your name, a familiar melody, rain tapping on the roof late at night. But now, with the world muted, you wonder, was it the sound itself that touched you, or the meaning you gave to it? This place without sound is not lifeless. It is not empty. It is simply resting. Like a song paused in the most beautiful note, like a breath held in anticipation. And you too are part of that still music. A note waiting to be played. A whisper waiting to be released. And when time finally moves again, the world will exhale. And the first sound you hear might just be the most beautiful thing you've ever known. The machines of our world are always moving. Even when we're still, they keep working, silently, efficiently, faithfully. A computer calculates, a watch ticks, a microwave hums. In hospitals, heart monitors beep rhythmically. In factories, conveyor belts never pause. Inside your own body, millions of processes occur every second, all guided by some invisible clock. But now, imagine that time has stopped. Not just for people, not just for animals or trees, but for machines too. In an instant, every circuit halts, every gear stops mid-turn, every screen freezes on the last image it displayed. A factory filled with machines becomes a ghostly still life. Robotic arms suspended mid-swing, sparks frozen in mid-air, pistons locked in place, as if the entire building took a breath and forgot how to exhale. You enter a room with a laptop open. The screen glows, but the cursor doesn't blink. You try to type, but no key responds. Electricity, normally so fast it's invisible, has stopped flowing. Each electron, each pulse, each signal is paused, frozen in place, like traffic on a road where the lights have gone out and the cars simply wait. Somewhere, a heart monitor is frozen on a single spike. A patient's breath is halfway drawn. A ventilator, humming moments before, now rests in silence. And yet, it isn't broken. It isn't dead. It's just paused. Like the machines are holding their breath, waiting for time to return. In a space center, a rocket engine is locked in mid-ignition. Flames, brilliant, impossible flames, are suspended in air, bright but unmoving. The countdown never reaches zero. The mission never begins. The data never transmits. And deep in space, even satellites have frozen in their paths. Communication signals no longer travel. Time has stopped. And with it, the entire network of technology we've built around the assumption that things must always move. It is humbling to realize how much we depend on the machinery of motion, how every comfort, every function, every illusion of progress relies on the flow of time. A phone call, a text message, a coffee brewing, a light turning green, none of it happens without time. And yet, the machines are quiet now, not ruined, not abandoned, just sleeping in a way, awaiting their cue. You begin to notice the shape of energy, how it once flowed through these machines like blood through veins. Now that flow is gone, and the silence left behind is not emptiness. It's anticipation, like the air before a storm, like a theater before the curtains rise. It makes you think, maybe we are machines too. Our brains, full of synapses and signals. Our hearts, rhythmic and electric. Our cells, tiny factories. And if time can pause us, maybe we too are just waiting for the next spark. And when time resumes, when the machines awaken again, you might see them differently. Not just as tools, but as companions, as fellow dancers in the great rhythm of time. Partners in a choreography that only exists because everything moves together. And now, everything is still. And in that stillness, even a machine seems sacred. Gravity never stops. It is the quiet, invisible hand that holds the universe together. It pulls the oceans into tides, keeps the moon in orbit, and holds your feet gently but firmly to the ground. It's always working, steady, patient, unwavering. But now, imagine a moment where time itself has stopped. And with the stopping of time, something strange happens. Gravity, too, is frozen. Not gone, not broken, but held in pause, like everything else. In your hand is an apple, just released from your fingers. It should fall. It was beginning to fall. But now, it just hovers there, inches below your palm, held in mid-air by nothing, by the absence of time. The force that should have pulled it to the floor has no direction anymore, because time no longer flows forward. Elsewhere, a child is mid-jump, suspended joyfully between the earth and the sky. Their feet are off the ground, their arms are reaching upward, but they do not rise or fall. They are held in that weightless space, like a memory stretched across eternity. A waterfall has turned into a sculpture, thousands of droplets of water suspended in perfect arcs and curves, never hitting the rocks below, never joining the river. A world that was once in motion is now a frozen ballet, held in delicate balance. And yet, it feels calm. There's no crash, no tension, just everything resting, like a breath before the fall. We often think of gravity as a force that pulls, but in this moment, you see it differently. You see it as a dance partner, a quiet presence that gives motion meaning. Without time, gravity has nothing to guide. The apple doesn't fall, the child doesn't land, the tides don't roll in, but the potential is still there. The longing for movement remains, and you begin to realize gravity isn't just a force, it's a promise, a relationship between things, between you and the earth, between the moon and the ocean, between planets and stars. It's a conversation spoken through falling, through orbits, through stillness and return. Now, in this one timeless second, that conversation is paused, not ended, only waiting. You feel your own body differently in this moment. Normally, your weight tethers you to the ground, but now you feel like you could float. Not upward, not downward, just exist. Suspended between motion and stillness, between falling and flying. There's peace in this balance, a strange serenity in not being pulled anywhere. For once, you're not fighting against the fall. You're not bracing for the landing. You're simply being weightless in a world that has forgotten how to move. And maybe, when time starts again, gravity will pull everything back into motion. The apple will fall. The child will land with a laugh. The water will crash into the rocks. But for now, everything floats. Shadows are the quiet companions of light. They follow us, stretch beside us, disappear in the dark and bloom under the sun. They're simple, just the absence of light where something blocks its path. But somehow they feel more than that. They seem alive, like silent echoes of our presence. Now imagine the moment time stops. The sun is high in the sky, casting long and soft shadows on the ground. You take a step forward, and so does your shadow. Or at least, it was about to. But before your foot touches the ground, time freezes. Your shadow, too, is caught mid-motion. It does not stretch. It does not follow. It is stuck, half-formed, half-stretched, like a ghost of intention. The world is frozen, and so is the light. And without moving light, shadows cannot change. Look around. Shadows that were dancing in the breeze are now locked in place. The shadows of trees lie flat across the grass like paintings. The shadow of a bird mid-flight is suspended on the side of a wall, never moving, never fluttering. And yours, your own shadow is frozen at your feet, no longer a reflection of your motion, but a sculpture of who you were 1 second ago. It's strange to realize how much we depend on light and shadow to orient ourselves in time. The shifting of shadows tells us the hour. The fading of light tells us the day is ending. The long morning stretch of a tree's silhouette, the short noon shadow beneath your feet. These things are clocks in their own quiet way. But now, the clock has stopped. The shadows no longer move. The world has forgotten how to turn. And with it, something else becomes clear. Shadows aren't just what we see. They are what we don't. They are the shape of absence, the outline of what stands in the way. Without time, the light cannot move, and the darkness cannot shift. All is held in an eternal pattern. And yet, in that stillness, there is beauty. The shadow frozen across a page, the outline of a flower on a windowsill, the curved silhouette of a cat sleeping by the door, each one perfectly etched, like nature has paused for an artist to come and trace every line. You reach out to touch your shadow. It doesn't feel like anything. It never has. And yet, it follows you, mimics you, disappears when you disappear. But now, in this second where time has halted, it does not respond. It doesn't reach when you reach. It doesn't shift when you turn. For the first time, your shadow is no longer yours. It is no longer with you. It is of you, stuck in the shape of who you were the instant time stopped. And this makes you think, what if our shadows are more than just light's byproduct? What if they are silent witnesses, etchings of our path through the world, echoes of presence, marked not in sound but in form? You walk through the world of frozen shadows. There is a shadow of a leaf, mid-fall, suspended above the ground. A shadow of a car's antenna, sharp and still against a sidewalk. A row of fence posts casting jagged lines that no longer stretch. And everywhere, light is waiting to move. It yearns to shift, to return to its dance with shadow. But for now, both are still. Both are held in quiet reverence. And in that stillness, you are left with a strange realization. Even when everything is paused, shadows remain. Silent, unmoving reminders that you were here. A second is usually nothing. It's so small, we barely notice it. It's the blink of an eye, the space between heartbeats, the pause between one breath and the next. It slips away without a trace, swallowed by the endless flow of time. But what if 1 second didn't slip away? What if, instead, it stretched? Imagine 1 second expanding, slowly, silently, until it fills everything. One moment, pulled like soft dough, until it becomes a vast space, a kind of eternity born from something almost too small to feel. The world around you is frozen. Yes, but you are not. You are conscious inside this elongated second, a single tick of the clock that never talks. The hands do not move. The light does not shift. Nothing changes, and yet everything feels different. Time is often measured in progress, in change, in motion, in before and after. But in this second, there is no progress. There is only now. A now that will not pass. A now without exit. And at first, it feels strange, maybe even terrifying. We are not used to stillness that refuses to move. But then, something shifts inside you. You begin to see the world more clearly, the way the light falls on a windowsill, the way dust floats in the air, frozen like tiny stars, the shape of your hand, reaching out, not moving, but present. You begin to notice, not just with your eyes, but with something deeper, with your mind, with your being. You start to feel the richness of this 1 second, a second that holds more than you thought possible. Memories bubble up, not in a rush, but slowly, gently. You are not watching time go by anymore. You are sitting within it. This second becomes a place, a room, a sanctuary. It is not a second anymore. It is everything. There is no pressure to move, no urgency. The world is no longer demanding anything from you. You are not late. You are not early. You are simply here. And as strange as it may seem, this second becomes a kind of eternity. Not a long stretch of years, but a moment so full, so whole, it feels like it could contain the entire universe. Your thoughts slow. Your breath, though paused, feels at peace. Your worries shrink. Your plans disappear. You are just being. You realize that maybe we've misunderstood time all along. Maybe it's not about what happens in it. Maybe the greatest gift time can give us is the chance to truly inhabit a single moment. And now you are here, inside that gift. Time has stopped, but life hasn't. Life is still humming softly beneath everything, in the silence, in the stillness, in the stretched second that will not end. And maybe that's not a curse. Maybe that's a miracle. All around you, the world is frozen in perfect stillness. But there's something else that hasn't stopped. Your thoughts. Even when time has halted, your mind continues. Whispering, wandering, asking questions, forming memories. Time outside may be paused, but inside you, a quiet river still flows. Thoughts are strange. They don't follow the rules of clocks or calendars. They can jump from past to future in an instant. They can replay something from childhood while simultaneously worrying about tomorrow. They're not bound by physics or gravity or even logic. So when everything else is locked in time's grip, your thoughts move freely, untouched. At first, it feels like a gift. You can think as much as you want. No pressure, no ticking clocks, no interruptions. You drift from memory to imagination, from wonder to worry, from dream to doubt. And because time is frozen, your thoughts can stretch as far as you let them. But then you begin to notice something else. Without time passing, you can no longer distract yourself. There are no tasks to rush toward, no appointments, no phone buzzes or deadlines. It's just you and your mind. Every thought you've ever pushed aside begins to rise. All the quiet questions, all the longings, all the truths you tried not to hear. They echo in this timeless space. What do you really want? Who are you when no one's watching? What pain are you still carrying deep down? What dream have you left behind thinking it was too late? There is nowhere to hide. And strangely, that's freeing. Because for the first time, you can listen. Truly listen. You're not rushed. You're not performing. You're not reacting. You're simply observing the quiet voice within, the one you usually ignore, the one that speaks not with noise, but with knowing. And in this second, this stretched, silent second, you begin to feel it. The weight of thoughts you've never unpacked, the emotions stored like boxes in an attic, the ideas you never had time to follow. Now, they have space. Now they have your attention. It's not always comfortable. The truth rarely is. But in this timeless space, you realize thought is not just noise. It is not a storm you must survive. It is a landscape you can explore, a place to wander, to discover, to heal. Maybe your thoughts are not your enemy. Maybe they are your map. And as the world waits, still and silent, you travel deeper into the unexplored country of your own mind, a place you've always lived in, but rarely visited. Far above your head, beyond clouds and atmosphere, time has stopped. But even in this frozen second, the stars remain, unchanged, unmoved, untouched. They shine like they have for billions of years, casting their light across the universe. And in this moment, without time marching forward, their light has become something else, an eternal message, frozen mid-flight. You look up. The sky does not flicker. There is no twinkling, no motion. Every star is perfectly still, like a pinprick in velvet. Normally, stars seem to shimmer, shifting subtly with every breath of the wind and every blink of the eye. But now they are steady, and in their stillness, you can truly see them. Each one is a sun, you remember. Not tiny points, but massive, roaring furnaces of unimaginable energy. But their voices have been quieted by distance, their heat cooled by space, their messages delayed by time. Or so it was, before time stopped. Now you are no longer just looking at the stars. You are meeting them in a kind of eternal now. The photons they sent millions of years ago were racing toward you. And now those messengers of light are frozen just before reaching your eyes. You are face to face with ancient stories, halted just before they touch you. You feel it deeply. The stars are not far. Not in this second. In this moment outside of time, there is no distance, no waiting. You are with them, floating in that eternal stillness. And something changes. You begin to wonder about the stories held in that light, not just the science, though that too is awe-inspiring, but the mystery, the meaning, the way our ancestors looked at those same stars and felt something holy. The constellations above you no longer move. Orion's belt is frozen mid-draw. The Big Dipper holds its ladle steady. The planets shine, but do not crawl across the sky. And with no ticking time to drag them forward, you are able to see them differently, not as distant bodies, but as ancient symbols. This sky is not just space. It is memory. It is myth. It is meaning. Time has stopped, but the light still lingers. The stars have not dimmed. The universe has not forgotten how to shine. And in that realization, something opens in you. A sense of smallness, yes, but not insignificance. You are small, but seen. You are brief, but part of something infinite. The stars are frozen in their brilliance, and you, for the first time, are quiet enough to listen. The air is utterly still. Not a single leaf rustles. Not a single breath of wind brushes your skin. And yet something stirs, not in the world around you, but within you. Your body, held in suspension, no longer moves. But your awareness, it deepens. You begin to sense your own body in a way you never have before. There is no heartbeat pounding in your chest, no inhale or exhale. But your mind, adrift in this frozen moment, begins to explore the quiet vessel it inhabits. You notice the texture of your skin, the shape of your hands, the feeling of your spine, suspended upright, the placement of your feet, perfectly balanced. You are still, but you are not gone. Without time dragging you forward, without breath rising and falling, your body becomes something sacred, a temple, a sculpture, a perfect snapshot of what it means to exist in physical form. And you realize how much you take it for granted. You've rushed it, pushed it, neglected it, sometimes even hated it, always trying to make it faster, stronger, thinner, quieter, always demanding something more. But now, in this second where time has bowed out, your body simply is. It does not need to perform. It does not need to prove. It only needs to be acknowledged. And so you do. You begin to feel gratitude, not just a passing thought, but a deep, resonant appreciation for your fingers and all the things they've touched, for your feet and all the paths they've carried you down, for your eyes, even now frozen mid-blink, and all the beauty they've witnessed, for your chest, which has risen and fallen 1,000,000 times without you noticing, until now. You realize your body has always been there for you, always carrying your story, whether you were paying attention or not. And in this suspended second, you finally give it the attention it deserves. You feel how much your body has endured, the injuries it healed from, the tension it held through heartbreaks, the tremors of joy, the weight of sorrow, all held in muscle, bone, and breath. All of it silent, patient, willing. You're still not breathing, but you feel alive, not in motion, but in presence. And you wonder, what would it mean to carry this awareness into every second? To live not from the neck up in racing thoughts, but through the whole body. To treat your body not as a tool or a problem or a project, but as a miracle. In the stillness, your body tells you, I've always been here. I'm not just a shell, I'm part of you. And with that, a quiet warmth stirs inside you, a gentle recognition. The body you carry is not separate from your soul. It's how your soul moves in the world. And maybe, just maybe, that's sacred. In this timeless instant, everything has stopped. And yet, the universe still feels full, not with movement, but with possibility. Every moment that might happen, every choice you might make, every path you might walk, hangs suspended in front of you, like stars waiting to be chosen. Life, when it moves, often seems relentless. There's barely time to catch your breath, let alone contemplate where you're headed. But now, with everything paused, you're granted a rare gift, the chance to truly look at the paths before you. Not just the path you're currently walking, but the countless ones branching in every direction. You see clearly, perhaps for the first time, how every decision shapes your journey. Each choice, big or small, opens one door and closes another. But usually, you make these choices quickly, half aware, pulled along by habit, fear, or urgency. Now though, nothing is pulling you. There's no pressure, no hurry. just clarity. You look behind you to the path you've already traveled. It stretches back, winding through moments of joy, pain, mistakes, and triumphs. You see decisions made in haste, paths taken out of fear, opportunities missed because you were too rushed or too afraid to see clearly. But none of it feels heavy or burdensome now. Instead, it feels honest, real, a clear record of a human life, complete with imperfections. And there's beauty in that imperfection, in the honesty of your journey. Then, slowly, you turn forward again to the paths that lie ahead. There are hundreds of them, maybe thousands. Some seem familiar, comfortable, easy. Others are uncertain, risky, challenging. Some paths shine brightly, others are shadowed, barely visible. And in this frozen second, you realize something profound. The paths you choose aren't just leading you somewhere else. They're shaping who you become. You can choose a path of comfort, staying within the boundaries of what you already know. Or you can choose one of courage, stepping towards something uncertain but deeply meaningful. You can move toward fear or toward love, toward safety or toward growth. Each choice is a step toward the person you are becoming, moment by moment, decision by decision. And suddenly, you feel a deep sense of freedom. Because while time has stopped, your life hasn't. You still have choices. You still have agency. You can still choose differently, not out of obligation, not out of pressure, but from a place of true awareness. You realize, perhaps more clearly than ever before, that your life is yours. The paths before you are not imposed from outside. They emerge from your own heart, your own dreams, your own fears, and you are free to choose which to follow. And as you stand here, in the quiet stillness of this endless second, you feel something extraordinary. Gratitude for every choice that brought you here, and excitement for every choice yet to come. Life, even paused, is full of possibility. With everything around you paused, your mind begins to explore deeper questions. Questions about meaning, purpose, and the mystery of existence itself. Time usually keeps you too busy to linger here, but now, in this moment of infinite stillness, there's nowhere else to go. And so, you find yourself contemplating what matters most. Why are you here? Not just here in this second, but here at all, alive, breathing, conscious. It's a question you've brushed aside countless times, distracted by daily tasks, obligations, and routines. But now, in this infinite pause, it becomes impossible to ignore. You think of the countless people who have walked the earth before you. Each one carried dreams, fears, joys, and sorrows. Each one asked, at least once, "What is the meaning of my life?" And yet, here you are, asking the same question, feeling the same mystery, facing the same unknown. It strikes you how strange it is to exist, to be a living, conscious being capable of thought, emotion, and wonder. How extraordinary it is to stand beneath stars that burn silently in the vastness of space, to have a mind capable of understanding even a fraction of the universe's complexity. You consider all the ways people have tried to answer these questions. Some find meaning in love, in relationships, in family. Others find it in creativity, in art, in expression. Some seek purpose through achievement, through ambition, through success. And others still find meaning in spirituality, in connection to something larger, something beyond themselves. In this suspended moment, none of these answers feels complete, but none feels wrong either. Instead, you sense a deeper truth. That meaning isn't something you find, but something you create, something you choose, something you shape with every decision, every interaction, every moment of awareness. Your life doesn't come with a fixed meaning assigned from above. It is yours to define, yours to shape, yours to live. And perhaps you think the meaning of life is simply this: to fully experience being alive, to feel deeply, to love openly, to explore fearlessly, to learn endlessly, to grow continuously, to connect authentically. Maybe it's not about reaching some perfect destination or achieving some ultimate goal. Maybe it's about the journey itself. Each moment lived intentionally, fully, consciously. And in this timeless moment, you realize something else. You are not alone. Every person who has ever existed has shared in this question, this mystery, this search, this longing to understand their place in the universe, their reason for being. You feel connected to them, to every ancestor who gazed at the same stars, who felt the same uncertainty, who asked the same quiet questions in moments of solitude. You are part of something vast, timeless, and shared. Your search for meaning connects you to everyone who has come before you and everyone who will come after. And in this endless second, where the universe has paused to let you think, you feel a profound sense of peace. Not because you found all the answers, but because you've embraced the questions. With time suspended, you find yourself pondering connections, not just between people, but connections woven throughout the universe, between atoms, between planets, between hearts. Normally, life moves too quickly for you to fully appreciate this web of relationships. But now, in this timeless second, you begin to see them clearly. Everything, it seems, is connected. Your life does not exist in isolation. Every breath you've ever taken, every thought you've ever had, every step you've ever made, each has touched and been touched by countless others. Strangers whose names you'll never know, loved ones whose lives are entwined with yours, even generations past and future you'll never meet, yet whose stories are subtly woven into your own. You think of how each action you take ripples outward. A kind word can echo through someone's entire life. A single act of compassion can shift someone's trajectory forever. And likewise, every act of cruelty or indifference also echoes, though these echoes may be quieter, heavier, hidden behind silence and pain. You realize that every encounter is meaningful, even when it seems insignificant. The person who smiled at you in passing, the stranger you offered help to, the friend who listened when no one else would. These small moments create threads that link us all together, invisible but strong, delicate yet resilient. You look deeper. You see how your existence is tied to nature itself. The food you eat, grown from earth and sunlight. The water you drink, once part of oceans and clouds. Even the breath in your lungs has circulated through countless others before reaching you. There is no boundary separating your life from the rest of existence. You are intrinsically part of everything. You turn your gaze even further outward toward the cosmos. The atoms that make up your body were forged in stars long dead. You're literally made of stardust, particles that traveled vast distances through time and space to form you. Your heartbeat resonates with the pulse of the universe. You are not separate from this grand dance, but an integral part of its rhythm. This sense of connection fills you with humility, awe, and a profound sense of responsibility. Your actions matter, not just to you, not just to those immediately around you, but in ways you may never fully see. You hold within you the power to heal or harm, to uplift or diminish. The awareness of this interconnection makes your choices deeply meaningful. And yet, this interconnectedness also fills you with comfort. You are never truly alone. Even in moments of solitude, you remain tied to a vast network of life, history, and potential. The threads connecting you to others persist, gently reminding you that your story is shared, your journey intertwined with countless others. In this timeless pause, you sense that love, at its core, is simply the awareness of these connections. To love someone is to recognize your shared existence, your mutual dependence, your common humanity. To love the world is to honor these invisible threads, nurturing them through kindness, empathy, and understanding. You feel a profound sense of gratitude for the complex, beautiful web of relationships that surrounds and supports your existence. Gratitude not only for those close to you, but for every invisible thread connecting you to people and places you'll never know. Time has stopped, but connection remains. Silent, infinite, beautiful. In this frozen second, you begin to reflect on something you rarely have time to truly consider: the nature of happiness. What does it really mean to be happy? Not the fleeting happiness that comes and goes, triggered by temporary pleasures, but a deeper, lasting sense of joy and fulfillment. You think about all the ways you've chased happiness in your life, through achievements, relationships, possessions, and pleasures. But now, as time stands still, those things seem far away, distant, and disconnected. And you're left wondering if happiness ever truly came from them, or if it always arose from somewhere deeper, quieter, and more permanent. You realize that happiness has often been something you chased rather than cultivated. Something you searched for outside yourself, believing it lay at the end of some distant goal or accomplishment. Yet as you stand here suspended between past and future, you sense a different truth emerging. Happiness might actually be found within. You remember moments when you felt deeply happy, not because of what you achieved or possessed, but simply because you felt fully alive, fully present. A quiet afternoon with someone you love, the simple joy of laughter, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the contentment of a moment free from worry or ambition. Perhaps happiness isn't something you attain. Perhaps it's something you allow, something you make space for, something that emerges naturally when you stop trying so hard to grasp it. You reflect on how often you've postponed happiness, promising yourself you would find it after reaching a certain milestone, a promotion, a relationship, financial security. But each time you reached that milestone, happiness seemed to slip just beyond your grasp again, setting itself at yet another goal, another future moment. Now, as the world stands motionless, you see clearly that happiness isn't found in the future. It isn't waiting behind the next accomplishment or around the next corner. It exists here and now, quietly, persistently, waiting for you to acknowledge it. You begin to understand that true happiness doesn't come from constantly acquiring more, but from fully appreciating what you already have. Gratitude, you realize, is at the heart of lasting joy. Gratitude for small moments, for simple pleasures, for relationships that sustain you. Gratitude for being alive, for the opportunity to experience, to feel, to love. And in this silent pause, something else becomes clear. True happiness often involves letting go. Letting go of resentment, regret, bitterness. Letting go of unrealistic expectations. Letting go of the belief that your happiness depends on external conditions. Happiness, you now sense, is freedom. The freedom to appreciate your life exactly as it is, imperfections and all. The freedom to experience joy without conditions. The freedom to be content, not because everything is perfect, but because you choose to embrace life fully, without reservation or judgment. You feel a gentle sense of liberation. For the first time, happiness doesn't feel like something elusive or distant. Instead, it feels accessible, immediate, waiting quietly inside you. All you have to do is pause, notice, and embrace it. As you stand here, suspended in this timeless moment, you promise yourself something profound. You will no longer postpone happiness. You will no longer chase it. You will live it, moment by moment, breath by breath, here and now. And when time finally moves forward again, you know your relationship with happiness will have changed forever. In the quiet eternity of this paused second, you find yourself drawn towards something you rarely face willingly, your fears. With no distractions, no motion, and nowhere to escape, your deepest fears gently rise to the surface of your awareness, patiently waiting for your acknowledgement. Fear, you realize, has always been there, guiding your choices, limiting your actions, shaping your life in ways both subtle and profound. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough, fear of loss, fear of uncertainty. Each fear, quietly powerful, has influenced the path you've taken through the world. Normally, these fears hide beneath layers of busyness, routine, and distraction. You've become an expert at avoiding them, pushing them away into the corners of your mind. But now, with the world completely still, there is nowhere left to hide. At first, facing these fears feels uncomfortable, even frightening. But gradually you begin to sense that fear isn't your enemy. Instead, it's simply a messenger, pointing you toward parts of yourself you've ignored, places in your life that need healing, growth, and understanding. You begin to explore each fear with gentle curiosity rather than resistance. You ask yourself questions you've long avoided. What am I truly afraid of? What pain am I running from? What beliefs about myself am I holding on to? Slowly, gently, you realize these fears are rooted not in reality, but in stories you've been telling yourself about your worth, your abilities, your place in the world. Stories formed long ago, often in childhood, when you felt vulnerable, unloved, or misunderstood. You begin to see clearly how these old fears have held you back, convincing you that certain dreams were impossible, certain risks too great, certain paths off limits. But in this timeless second, you sense a deeper truth. These fears are just that. Stories. Stories you've told yourself so often they felt real. Stories you've accepted without question. And if fears are stories, you now understand. You have the power to rewrite them. You look at your fear of failure and see it clearly for the first time. Not as a limitation, but as a doorway to growth. Failure, you now realize, is not the end of the road, but a necessary part of any meaningful journey. It's how you learn, how you become wiser, stronger, more compassionate. Your fear of rejection begins to soften as well. You see how it's kept you from fully opening your heart, from truly connecting with others. You now sense that rejection is not a reflection of your worth, but simply an invitation to find relationships that align with your truest self. Not everyone will see your value, and that's okay. Those who do will cherish you deeply. One by one, your fears reveal themselves not as enemies, but as allies, showing you exactly where you need to grow, exactly where you can become freer, braver, and more authentically yourself. In this moment of stillness, you feel a profound shift within you, a quiet courage emerging. You realize courage isn't the absence of fear, but the willingness to face it directly. Courage is standing in the presence of fear and moving forward anyway, one small step at a time. You promise yourself that when time resumes, you will no longer let fear dictate your choices. You will honor your fears, listen to their messages, and then step beyond them into the full, vibrant life you deserve. For the first time, your fears no longer feel overwhelming or limiting. Instead, they feel manageable, understandable, even hopeful. They hold within them the promise of transformation, the possibility of a life lived without regret or hesitation. And as you stand here, fearless in the presence of your fears, you feel truly free. In the infinite silence of this frozen second, you begin to sense something new, a gentle vibration, a soft stirring deep within yourself and around you. It feels like anticipation, like the moment just before dawn, when the sky holds its breath, waiting for the first rays of sun. You realize that this timeless pause cannot last forever. Soon, inevitably, time will resume. Yet, even as you acknowledge this, something profound has shifted within you. In this paused moment, you have journeyed deeper within yourself than ever before, exploring your fears, your happiness, your connections, your purpose. You faced truths long avoided, felt gratitude for things long overlooked, and experienced clarity unlike anything you've known. Now, as you sense time approaching again, you feel neither fear nor regret. Instead, you feel readiness, a quiet, confident certainty that when the clock moves forward once more, you will return to the world changed, wiser, stronger. You look around one last time at this frozen world. You take in the beauty of a raindrop suspended mid-fall, the silent grace of a bird hovering mid-flight, the calm dignity of people caught in moments of everyday life. These images are etched deeply into your heart, reminders of the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary. But most of all, you carry within you a new understanding. Time is precious. Every second, every moment holds infinite possibility. It's not something to rush through, not something to waste or take for granted, but something to cherish deeply, consciously, intentionally. As you prepare to rejoin the flow of time, you feel immense gratitude. Gratitude for the journey you've undertaken within this second. Gratitude for the insights gained. And gratitude simply for being alive, here and now. You know the world you return to will be just as complicated, messy, beautiful, and unpredictable as before. Problems will still arise, challenges will still test you, and life will still surprise you. But you are no longer the same person who entered this pause. You have found something vital within yourself: strength, peace, resilience, courage, and you carry these gifts forward with you. You sense time beginning to move again, softly, gently. The frozen raindrop inches downward. The bird slowly resumes its flight. The people around you begin to stir. The world breathes again, awakening from its brief slumber. And you breathe with it, deeply and intentionally, fully aware that this moment, this precious, ordinary, extraordinary moment is yours to live, yours to shape, yours to cherish. With one final glance at the beautiful stillness you've inhabited, you step confidently into the moving current of time, fully prepared to embrace whatever comes next.